They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It's always worked for me. And I think Justin Trudeau thought that it would work for him too, because we now know the amount of taxpayer cash Justin Trudeau blew on hospitality expenses in his failed attempt to try to charm his way into the hearts and minds of the world's dictators to win a UN Security Council seat. That total? $330,000. Justin Trudeau promised us all that Canada was back on the world stage when he was first elected in 2015. And because Canada was back, he was going to pursue and win a UN Security Council seat. Trudeau wanted a seat at the big boy table with some of the world's most vicious human rights abusers like China and Russia. Trudeau really wanted the Security Council seat for another reason. For spite, because Stephen Harper didn't win one either. And when Harper lost his Security Council vote, the Liberals said it was an example of the world rejecting Stephen Harper and his policies, messaging the Liberals seemed to want everybody to forget now that they lost their attempt at a UN seat too. But at least Harper made it past the first round of voting, unlike Justin Trudeau, who was out of the running after the very first ballot. And now we're uncovering how much this vanity and spite project of Justin Trudeau is going to cost Canadians. Today's information comes to us by way of an order paper question asked by Conservative MP for Calgary Centre, Greg McLean. McLean asked, with regard to the government's campaign for a United Nations Security Council seat in 2021, how much has been spent on hospitality-related expenses broken down by date, item, or service? And the response from Global Affairs, it's not as detailed as McLean asked, but it shows two things. First, the obvious, the absolute number of tax dollars wasted whining and dining the world's dictators with Canadian tax dollars for Justin Trudeau to pursue his failed spite and vanity project. The second, you can see the increasing desperation in the tax dollars being wasted as they ramp up the spending year over year. Okay, first, let's look at the bulk number. As of May 11, 2020, $329,016 has been spent on hospitality-related expenses for the UN Security Council campaign since 2017. Okay, now let's look how the Liberals became more desperate in their charm offensive campaign spending. 2016, 2017, only about $24,000 was spent, and I can't even believe I'm saying only because that's a lot of wine and cheese for dictators, isn't it? But I say only because look at this. The very next year, the spending levels more than tripled. 2017, 2018, $77,355. And in 2018, 2019, they go up another $50,000. The annual spending on fancy dinners for the world's worst people, $124,112. The next year, this spending goes down a little, but it's still outrageous. 2019, 2020, the Liberals spent $103,444 to romance the crooked, backward human rights abusers in charge of the United Nations. Global Affairs also goes on to explain to us that, hey, you guys, it's no big deal because the other prospective candidates were doing a lot of glad-handing and banquets too with the United Nations to try to win that much-coveted seat. Look at this. These expenses reflect standard diplomatic practices and are commensurate with Canada's competitors' efforts. Justin Trudeau, keeping the world's dictators well-fed and rosy-cheeked and getting absolutely nothing but embarrassment in return. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. $330,000 might seem like a lot of money to spend on food to win a UN Security Council seat, but Justin Trudeau's UN Security Council aspirations have cost Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig a lot more. It cost them 600 days of their freedom. The two men were kidnapped and imprisoned by the Chinese state. And Justin Trudeau has taken a very tepid approach to securing their freedom because Justin Trudeau wanted China's support for his Security Council bid. But not us. Here at Rebel News, we're trying to shine a light on the plight of the two Michaels. We've hired a lawyer to help us draft a complaint to the UN Human Rights Council. If you can help us, please go to freethetwomichaels.com and help us do what Justin Trudeau wouldn't. That's freethetwomichaels.com.